Hey there, quilters. Welcome back to the cabin. I'm going to do a little recap of our 100 blocks in 2025 today, but I'm also going to let you know what fun stuff we have coming up in August, because I'm going to change it up a little bit. We are still doing our 100 quilt blocks, but we're going to be adding some new programming in, and I think you'll really like it. So if you want to find out what's coming up in August and check out what we've made so far up to this point in our 100 blocks, you should definitely stick around. Hey everybody, thanks for sticking around. I'm Penny. I'm so glad you're here and you're part of the channel. I want to get right into our July recap, and then afterwards we're going to talk about what new things are coming up coming forward. So we are, as of the date of this filming, very close to hitting a grand milestone in our channel, and that is 10,000 subscribers. Now this isn't going to mean a lot to YouTube, but it does certainly mean a lot to me, to our channel, and to our company. So as of the filming, we're at, I think, 9,933 subscribers, which is just so close. And that was a goal that we set for the channel this year. Now, ultimately, I would love to get to 100,000 subscribers because I'd really love that cute little play button. But in any case, this was the goal that we made today. And to get here from where we started with just 30 people is a pretty big accomplishment. So I think last year we had just gotten monetized, and it was a very big accomplishment and really loved it. And so we'd love it if you would participate in that. Now, how can you participate in that? Well, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. The benefit of that is you get to know when we post new content, and we are going to have great new content coming up in August that I think you're really going to like. I'm going to do a few other different things besides our 100 blocks. We've kept up with our 100 blocks, but we have a lot of other stuff in the planning, and we're about to release that. So I'd really like it if you stuck around. If you get to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you everything that's coming up new. The other way that you can help is by liking the channel. You can also share the channel with your friends. And one of the series we have coming up is specific for beginner quilters. So if you know anybody who is a beginner quilter that wants to hone their skills or learn a little bit more about quilting, or if you know somebody that like to get started quilting, this is the channel they should be tuned into coming up in the future. So you can like, you can subscribe, you can share the content, and that helps the YouTube algorithm let other people who watch the same types of things you do find us on the internet, and that will help boost the numbers, and we can make our 10,000 viewers subscribers. So that's something wonderful that we really want to do. And once we reach 10,000 subscribers, I have a great video. Weirdly enough, I filmed it 18 months ago, and we had some issues, so I have to film it again. But I still have a fabulous giveaway, and I would like to give that away to one of our lucky viewers, and I'm going to post that video after we hit our 10,000 subscriber mark. That's going to be our gift to you, and I still have the giveaway, and I'm really excited about giving it away. So if you're interested in that, help the channel, boost the channel, and if you still are watching and you haven't subscribed yet, why not? It's so easy. You just hit that subscribe button, and I would love it. All right, let's get right into our July recap of our 100 quilt blocks in 2025, and our first set of blocks that we did are right down here. Okay, the first blocks that we did for the month of July are number 41 and 42. They are here. They were an exercise in fussy cutting. They are the Puss in the Corner block from the Farmer's Wife book, page 198. And we learned a little about fussy cutting, both blocks that you can do that are specific to a print where you want a piece of the print out and you just want to get a nice little character, like, for example, this bird, or a kind of an all-over fussy cut where you get the idea of what we're going to do with our lemons, and we got all the lemons and the color within, and this is our Puss in the Corner block. So now we've reviewed those, I'm going to go ahead and put them up on the board. I had to move some things around for our July retreat, so I moved all kinds of blocks around, and I've left an area where we can put these blocks up on the wall, and we can start seeing exactly what we've got going on. So our second set of blocks that we did This is going to be another exercise in fussy cutting. I made 2 teal blocks here, but our fussy cutting is, again, we're going to do one that has specific characters. You know, we had to get our fish, and then we also have sort of an all over. So this is one that we did from a floral print, and then we pulled the teals and some of the colors from the floral print back out. So this one was a super easy block, a couple 9 patches and some squares, but super easy to do and super fun. And that was going to be our block number 43 and 44. And they came out of the Tula book as well, put page 189. So let's put those up on the board. My fish are upside down, but that's all right. We're just going to keep rolling. So our next block that we did, which is our block number 45, this is going to be from the Farmer's Wife, and it's called Whirlwind. And we did a fussy cut center. We did some half square triangles on this one, and we learned about pulling colors specifically out of our fabric. So I pulled all this purple and a little bit of this pink right out of our little gnomes in the center. I don't know about you, but I love those little gnomes. So I'm going to put those right here in our purple stream, our purple stripe that we have going on here. And remember, I told you as we start getting further along and get more and more blocks, I'm probably going to have to just pin them up because you can't see it, but we're all the way almost to the floor here, just so I can keep them at a level that you can see. So we're going to start making some little pin-ups for color, and then we'll go from there. We'll change it up a little bit. And I'm really excited because we're going to be changing our design wall. If all works out really well, it's going to be great. And I'm really excited about that in our upcoming videos. So the next block in our series is going to be our block number, I've got my notes down here, our block number 46. And this was all about blending color. And I did our blend of color just a little bit differently because we used all the same color, and instead of going light to dark in a traditional way, we did it with the advent of negative space. So we started with lots of negative space, and we just kept reducing the negative space until we got down to a darker color. That's kind of a unique way to blend our color, but I just wanted to give you an idea that it doesn't always have to be, you know, a light red to a dark red and finding that little happy medium in between. Sometimes we can use that negative space to help blend, and I think this one blended pretty well. So we'll go ahead and put this on our red row. Red row. That was, I don't know why I had trouble getting that one out. Anyway, so our next block that we did is another blend of color, because I really wanted to show you all the different ways you can blend color as we're going along. And I hope you're liking this. I hope you're learning a little bit about all the different ways that we quilt and we utilize color and fussy cutting and all the different methods, because I've really put a lot of effort into planning this in such a way that we sort of reinforce those skills. So let's take a look at the next block. All right, this is another Tula block. This one came from page 143, and we blended our color in stripes. So this one's a little bit more traditional. We just took a print with our little fish on it, and then we did a very traditional light, medium, and dark version of that. And we did come off of the orange color a little bit. We stayed in the pink, but we kind of mixed the two. So we have a pink print with an orange fish, and we kind of went into the peachy type forms of pink so that we could see that heavy, light, medium, dark. This one's a lot more traditional, and again, made with our scraps. We'll put that one up on our pink side, which is here. Excited about that. Our next block was another Tula block. This one using a focus fabric, and then we used a bunch of scrap strips. So here is our focus fabric, and then we just chose a totally different purple just to make it really obvious, and we did our scrap strips of our different types of purples. So I kind of like this one because we really have, it's a purple block, and we have 3 different purples that we've mixed into this one, and it's very distinct. If you like to blend color a little bit differently, you could have gone a little more into the blue of this purple, but we kind of like this. You could also have, if you're not specifically trying to get an all purple block, you have lots of color here that you could play with. And you could make each one of these strips a different color and sort of mimic the tail feathers on the bird. That's another little way to get all that color in. So I don't know what your quilt is looking like, but if you just want your quilt to be nice and colorful and you're not worried about doing different blocks of color, that's another way to bring those scrap strips to life. And it would be a fun way to do it. Put that in our purple. Look at our purple's getting taller now. And then we went on to a peach block. Let's take a look at that one. So for this block, we did a focus frame around the outside, scrap strips in the middle. And I really like this one because we chose a couple of alternating scraps that fit in with the lights and the darks of the border print. And then we used the scrap fabric to make our little border on the outside. This is, again, another super easy block. Pretty easy math, pretty easy to do, and just so happens to be all dots, which is kind of fun. I don't know about you, but I really like dots. But anyway, another blendy color, blendy guy. Put that in our orange row. I really love that border fabric around the outside. I think it's really super cute. All right, the next block is again another focus fabric with some blended strips. So I chose to have this little gray fabric with all the yellow, and then we just reached into our yellow scraps. So we've alternated our gray in here with one long strip and two small strips. I've got a lighter yellow in here and a darker yellow on the outside, and just an easy way to use up your scrap strips. That's a really fun way that Tula puts these blocks together, and she does them and has all the math in the book, but it's just kind of a way you just kind of put some strips together and then you sew some bigger strips on the outside, and it's very similar to the way that I do scrap quilting in All Scrapped Out. We just kind of put our things together, and these are actually cut to size, so the math is already done for you, but sometimes I just throw things together and then I cut them out at the size at the end, and it all works because they're my scraps and they all kind of go together. It's just a fun way to piece. So this one's an easy one, just using your scraps, using your scrap strips. Let's put it in our yellow spot. There we go. And then we have a block called Rainbow Flowers, which came straight out of the Farmer's Wife book. Now we did two on this one. I don't know if you remember, but we made two blocks. And I think this was just me showing you the different way to blend color. So I started with a fussy cut project, just a little piece of this floral that I love so much, and we stuck with the peaches, and we went light, medium, and dark to blend our color. And then over here we did sort of the same thing we did last time, where we did a blend of color based on negative space. So again, we took this very heavy open negative space to a little less, to a little less, to a dark red. And that was two different ways to really blend the color, more traditional and non-traditional. I kind of like that way of using our negative space to blend out because I have a lot of scrap bins. And so let's say I pick up my blue scrap bin, I might have a blue floral, but the background's very white. And so it doesn't come off as much as a blue piece of fabric. So when I go to blend it, it changes, you know, my kind of around my brain. Is it a light blue? Is it a medium blue? So I like the idea of being able to add in parts with negative space to help blend those colors. I can make more use of my scraps that way. Hope that makes sense. We'll get these up on the wall. This is our orange block and our red block. We're getting taller. We're getting taller. And then our last block that we worked on was an all blend of color, and we did that straight from our scraps. And I had a little fun with this one. So with this one, we did a light, medium, and dark. And then we added this kind of a crazy print that I had scraps of. So I have all these little bird faces in here. And they match a little bit. They coordinate a little with the medium. They coordinate a little with the dark. And so it just kind of was a fun little peekaboo little thing on here. So if I wanted to blend completely light to dark, I would have taken the one with the negative space and put it on the bottom, but I kind of like the idea of this being on the top. So a little like birds roosting on something. So, but if you look here in the print, we have these little tiny flowers, and they sort of mimic the color or coordinate with the color on the bottom. The wings of the birds, or the leaves that are here, they kind of coordinate with the medium, and then we've gone a little bit dark to coordinate with the dark. So that's how we blended the color on this block. And that was a really fun blend, and it's kind of a fun way to do your strips. A little bit narrow, a little bit wide, and then just sewing them together in 3 rows. This is fun. And again, we did this with math because Tula provided the math for this block, but we didn't have to do it that way. You could have just made some scrappy strips and then sewed them together at different angles, and you'd wind up with something similar to the same block. So, oh goodness, we're getting tall. We'll put this up on our purple strip. All right, so now you've seen we are 53 blocks in. Everything on the wall, and I know it's in a weird order right now, but I can't believe we've made it to 53. Now, I've been testing some math coming up in August, so sometimes we are doing 2 blocks at once because I will test math, make sure that my math is correct to do the block, or I might test it to see if we want to do it the original way the block's written or if we want to do it a slightly different way. So I know at least in the first few, we've done 2 blocks in August. So we're going to move forward a little bit quicker. You don't have to move as quick as I am to get to your 100 blocks. It's just, I have to do that because I have to test the math. And also I have to finish a lot earlier than you do so that I can get all of our videos done and uploaded and ready to go so that you'll be able to see them on time. And we can get to, hopefully, we can get to the finished quilt by the time December rolls around. So it's a time crunch for me. I got to get this done. So anyway, so that's where we are in our 100 blocks in 2025. So if you're following along, if you've made exactly the same amount of blocks as me, you should be around, 50, 55 blocks by now, but you should definitely be at like 50 if you made some extras, because we are about halfway through our process. So we want to be able to get those done in 2025. So you don't have to get the quilt finished like I do, but you want to keep rolling, keep getting these blocks done. And they're small, they're easy. So what else do we have coming up this month, this upcoming month of August? So I've already kind of reached and told you a little bit of a surprise, which is we plan to do a giveaway, because I am really hoping that by the time we get to the end of July and into August, we will reach that 10,000 subscriber mark. So we are getting that video ready now, and then we'll have a little drawing, and in order to be entered into that drawing, you just have to leave a comment on the video, so you'll have to watch it. And it's a great little project, so I hope you'll like it. I'll give you a sneak peek of it right now. So I might have all of the fabrics to remake one of these. Ooh, okay. So this is really fun. It's all batiks, and it's from Timeless. And we did this video, like I said, a while ago, and the video kind of went kaput. We had no sound, and I got really frustrated. But the cool thing about the fabric is that when you win the fabric, you can make two of these. You can either make one really big one, or you can make two. And the way they have the pattern written, you can do one as a white background and one as a black background. And so I'm gonna use the fabric that I have, and I'm gonna make the other one on camera so we can see. So we'll have this quilt as a reference, and then we'll do another one. And then I have enough fabric to give away so that you can make your own, either single or double, and that'll be really fun. So I hope you'll join me for that, and we'll touch on that when we get into August, or once we get past our 10,000 subscriber mark. So if you're looking at the channel and you see that number pass the 10,000 mark, well, you'll start looking for that that video to come out. And I think it's a really good video. It's a very easy quilt to make, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is our beginner series. So I have been asked multiple times to put together a beginner quilt series, and there's lots of different ways to do that. I have taught beginner quilting. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy bringing quilting to beginners, and there's a lot of information to learn in the very beginning. So just like I did with the half square triangles, some of these blocks, so in some of the comments on the videos, and I know this is only because people are finding me in different types of ways, sometimes they'll come into the series at block number 33 and not realize that I've already talked about a way to actually do the block, and we're just sort of getting through what we're doing on that day, and I'm not going through a step-by-step instruction of, say, half square triangles, because we've done that before. So I get asked a lot about repeating steps and doing things. And so for half square triangles, for example, I went and made an entire beginner video front to back on how to do that method and exactly what we're doing step by step. Now, it's a longer format video, and some of you may not need that education, but some of you may. So it put me in mind to think that maybe we should start at the beginning, because as it says in The Sound of Music, it's a very good place to start. So we'll start at the very, very beginning of quilting, and we'll talk about quilting itself, the terms, and things like that, and we'll do it as a series. So I'll start with terms, and then I'll start talking about beginner tools. I already made a pretty extensive video on beginner tools, but we'll go ahead and we'll retouch the absolute basics that you need for starting a class. We'll also talk about the basic skills you need. So I'll do a video on squaring up your fabric and cutting, and the tips and tricks I have for that. And then we'll move into making a quilt. And I'll show you the quilt that we're going to be making. So for our beginner class, we're going to be making a simple 9-patch quilt, but we're going to talk about borders, cornerstones, sashing stones, and all the basics that you need to make this quilt. And I'm also going to go through color, because one of the biggest things I think that challenges quilters is learning how to pick color. And my tried and true method is starting with a print with lots of color in it, and we pull from there. So we're gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna show you the fabrics that I've pulled to do my sample with all of you. And I'm actually teaching beginner quilting this week. So that'll be fun. And I'll have some students here, and maybe I'll get a few sneak peek pictures of what they did in class, and we'll share those as well. So we're gonna set up that whole entire series. It's already been filmed, and we're gonna start launching that in August. And that's gonna be for, like I said, for you to hone some of your skills and to break the steps of quilting down, and that it's free for me to you, so that if you're looking for step-by-step lessons in how to quilt, I think it's a pretty good place to start, a pretty good source for that. And so if you are already quilting and you don't need to learn any extra skills, or you're not interested in doing that, that's fine. But you may know somebody who wants to start quilting, or you may know somebody that needs to drop back to the basics and learn a few tips from the very beginning. So if you want, you can share the channel and let them know what's going to be coming with that. Now, in addition to that, I have another little project that I'm working on, and it's a very interesting little thing. So my other little project that I'm going to be working on is going to be it'll probably be a block of the month for me, but I thought I would do some things on camera so you can learn how to do that. So here's what we're going to be working on. Let me see if I can get this on camera. It's going to be the laundry basket quilt spring bouquet. Here, let me see if I can open this up a little bit so you can see. I'll get rid of that. So this is the laundry basket spring bouquet, and what's really funny about this one is I purchased some blocks just for my store here. I happened to purchase some blocks that were already pre-cut, pre-laser cut, and pre-fused. And I thought they would be fun to make little pillow projects and things like that in the store. And then once I realized that they make an entire quilt, I was like, oh, well, maybe I should get those. What happened was I saw online that they had 10 blocks. So I bought one of each, all 10. And then what I didn't realize was block number 10 was a border, and I needed 4 of these. So I wound up ordering, trying to go and order 3 more, so I had all the borders, and I had a terrible time finding those borders. So I just got word that in my package, which arrives on Monday, I am going to get the 4th border that I have been missing. And so I really want to start this project, and I thought, you know what, if you've ever made a project where you need to do applique, even if it's fusible. So the thing about applique and doing something like this is there's so many different ways you can do applique, and a lot of people really aren't into hand applique. Well, this is a fusible project, and you can buy the kits. And so I thought, well, what if I show all of you some of the skills and the little things that I will do, the tips and tricks that I will use to finish this block, and we can make this together. I thought that would be really fun. So you can definitely get some of these kits available. If you can't find them locally, you can find them online, or you can talk to your local quilt shop and see if they can get them for you. And there's also a pattern, which ironically I did not get, but one of my students who was here for retreat was working on the same quilt. We got to talking about it. She finished hers while she was here, and she gave me her pattern. So I now have the entire block, and so we're going to use this as a lesson for all of you of how I'm going to start working on and finishing this project. So we're going to work on the spring bouquet coming up, and then I will have an announcement on what we're going to do after that, because I'm going to do a block of the month here on camera, and I will provide all of the things that you need to go and get. It's not going to be my block of the month to start. It's going to be another designer's block of the month, but it was really cute, and I thought we could learn some skills together, and maybe we can, again, use our scraps or pick up our some fat quarters that coordinate or whatever and make another upcoming project. And then I have some new patterns and new things coming out. So coming up in the next few months, I'm definitely going to do a video on our new pickle dish pattern, which I think you're really going to love. Several of you saw it in some of my previous videos, sort of in the background of the video, and asked me about it, and it is coming out, and so we'll do a video on our pickle dish as well, and some things like that. So I hope that you'll stick around and consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss anything. And then we'll see how our beginner series goes, because if our beginner series goes really well, I think it would be fun to do one that's quilting 201 rather than quilting 101. So we'll see how that goes. But again, every one of our videos when we do a series like that will be in its very own playlist. So when we start doing the beginner series, we'll put it in our beginner playlist, and you'll be able to find it. You'll be able to show it to your friends, and hopefully you'll really like it. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for our July recap of our 100 blocks in 2025. And I hope you'll keep watching the channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, hit that notification bell, but definitely like the video. It helps the algorithm and it gets us out, and we'll make our 10,000. And who knows, maybe eventually we'll make our 100,000, which would be really exciting. So if you want to learn more about me or learn more about our available retreats, you can definitely head over to cabinquilters.com and check me out there. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy quilting.